On page Yud Gimel, 6 lines from the top. The line begins with the word havayah. So we are still further elaborating on the principle of hislapshus oy keili. The principle within this phenomenon that we are stressing right now is that even though that there is hislapshus in the oy keili, and the keili can grasp the oil and so forth, but there is an important a subtle element that pervades there. The oil is mislabish in the keili, and this is not an inadvertent type of relationship, because there's a keili that has the effect on the oil that it can accomplish that which it can accomplish only through a keili. The oil has that inherently because this is a function of the oil, not of the keili. Like we said, the union of his havus, creation is exclusively in the purview of the oil, of atzmus. Oil is reflective of atzmus, not keili. And creation comes only from atzmus. The oil reflects atzmus. This is why in the oil there's a whole concept of creation. But on a functional level, creation cannot come directly from oil, because oil is a lakus. It has no shachas to create yesh. The keili has to contain the oil, bring it down to a yesh consciousness or yesh level, and then there could be yesh from yesh miyayin, a creation. But the power to creation and the intent of the creation is actually in the oil, not in the keili. Because that in the oil inherently there is the intent of hislapshus. This is why there is that phenomenon that the oil and the keili, the oil is mislabish and the keili with such perfect union. It isn't that the keili grasped the oil. The oil is mislabish in the keili. Like we always say when we explain the phenomenon, the human phenomenon, chokhmah and seichel, and how we observe things, it is always important to sense, to whatever extent we have that sensitivity. It's a very fine sense, but we have to remember, we see objects, and we see the full, total reality of this object, the total reality of the world. The reason we observe the total reality in the world is not because our power of sight has such power to see the reality. It is not because we see it. It is because it is being shown to us. In other words, The reality itself wants us to see Him. The Rebbe created the world for us to create in a way that we should see it perfectly. Like we said the other day, the world in 6 days. Why? In order that we should be able to relate to creation. The Rebbe created Shamayim and Oretz. Shamayim and Oretz define the boundaries of the world that we observe. Is this a real boundary? This is a real boundary. This is a boundary for our observation, so that the world should be real to us. So those people who have it in their psyche, in their mind, that they don't want to know what they're being shown. They want to investigate for themselves. Were given to us as specific actions. Why do you give me? I'm intelligent. Just tell me what you want to accomplish. It's not going to happen. Beis, I have the. You can't live in the world. You can't. You have no orientation. Story who says you got the whole store. A little bit, the whole scene. So what does he do with the city? He sits and sleeps. The whole city is mine. So there's nothing I can do with it. Okay. Okay, so I said we start from the line that begins with havayah, 6 lines from the top. Shem Elikim. That is Shem Elikim. Because Shem Havayah represents the Asmus Elokus. And therefore not in any which way be reflected in Yesh. In order to be Yesh, it has to be Shem Elikim that conceals, hides away the Shem Havayah element. And represents Shem Havayah from a different perspective. What perspective? Elikim. We discussed yesterday. Elikim means master. Havayah means is not you. So there's no mitzvah of Yesh. Elikim represents Elokus in the form of master. So therefore, it gives room for the world. The world is a mitzvah, and this is a master. But this is a concealment of the Shem Havayah. From that, Yochel is Havas HaYesh. Umuvuyam Sefer Rabbeinu Chelik Beis Perik Daled. Shezehu Bechinas that Shem Elikim. This is essentially the aspect of the kelim shemastirim al ha'oir that hide on the oil, that concealed on the oil. Like we explained many times in Hakelim, it's important to understand that this is pervasive everywhere. A person writes. So he's writing an aleph. He's writing an aleph by containing his thought, containing his perspective, and hiding it into the aleph. But the aleph does not present a limited presence of an aleph. It presents a whole human thought. The Rebbe, the Frierdiker Rebbe, had a big campaign in his days, but the modern educational methods were being developed in the Jewish arena, and they came to a method of teaching AyinBase in a manner that would avoid mentioning the letter itself and the consonant and the vowel. They would go straight, like in the English way, like the sound of the letter, oh, bo, bo. And they claim it was very successful. The children learned the AyinBase in no time. True. But the Rebbe said, but they're missing the real thing. They're learning it exclusively on the worldly level, but there's no essential element in it. As a result of that, they're devoid of the essential element. I recall an experience that I had. I can't forget this.
Why is it so that when they say the sound, they avoid the essential level? I mean, while learning, why do they need to mention this is an aleph?
You have to mention that this aleph exists because you know it, not because it exists. I was working in the office, I mentioned to you, and whatever there were Israeli guys over there, and after challenges, and they all came in, I put on film with all of them. So there's one young guy, he was in the upper 20s, highly educated, from Israel. Really highly educated in, very successful. So I started talking to him, but he's an Israeli guy, so it's easy for him to get involved in learning. I said, look, you put on film, maybe we'll sit down and learn something. He said, okay. I had in my briefcase a Shulchan Aruch, Alter Rebbe Shulchan Aruch. So I took it out and I said, let's learn Shulchan Aruch. It's no problem for him to read it. I started reading Shulchan Aruch. What are we learning? Hashkomas Odom Baboker. How are you supposed to wake up in the morning? This professor is learning how you're supposed to wake up in the morning. I'm learning with him. We didn't have much time, 15 minutes, whatever, grabbed away from his own. We finished. As a matter of fact, he was sitting at the edge of the table, I was sitting there and said, for the first time I learned anything real. And just like that.
You learned with him Madur Bas?
I don't remember which Madur I learned with him. In Dalton, the Hashkomas and Mabeker Madur Bas is the second. I don't remember which one we learned, the first or the second. Shvisha Hashem Yisomim, I think. I don't remember which. The point is, for the first time in my life, I learned something real. Real means that which tells me
who
I am. What?
How did he sense that?
He didn't sense it. It is real. He tells him who he is and how what he's doing here and how he's supposed to behave and what's around him and how did he come here. Tells the whole thing in these few lines. We take it for granted, and we're learning it as if this is like a burden of, oh, you better watch out, you better. In reality, this is just revealing to us our neshamas. Like I said, that it's important for us to always remember that what we see is not because we detected it, but because it's being shown to us. Okay, let's continue. Once we get in, I don't have the Shemaim. I don't know when to stop. Hare, okay, we're on the line that begins Al Hoir. Hare, thus we see, Shehoiros Poyalim Kifiyefan Hakelim, that the oiros affect functionally Kifiyefan Hakelim, based on the oifen, on the manner of the kelim. Because even though the koyach harizavos in the oir, but it does not go directly from the oir, it is the keili that defines how that should come. The zehu, and that is lefi shehoir is hein b'bchinas tfisa v'yislapshus mamash b'hakeli. Because that the oiros have the element of tfisa, of grasp, which means that the kelim have a grasp on the oil. They relate to and full hislapshus in the keili. As we said in our moshel of this, as simplistic as it is, the water in the cup, we no longer refer to it as water. We refer to it as a cup of water. Because it's a completely different phenomenon than water. It's a definitive element of water that the cup contributes to the water. Al kain hakelim poyalim b'ha'oyer. Because that the oil isn't true grasping the kelim, that's what the kelim poyalim b'ha'oyer. They have an effect on the oil. And what is the effect? Liyois piyulas ha'oyer kifi oifen ha'keli davko. So that the effect of the oil should be in the manner that the keili defines it to be. Davka. The general aspect, the unlimited aspect of oil is totally concealed, it's camouflaged. And you see in the oil but the keili allows it to come through. It's as if to say that the whole phenomenon of water is water in a cup. This water that comes from the ocean, but once it's in the keili, it becomes grasped by the keili, and it's associated, so to speak, from its broader reality. It's defined by what the keili identifies it. If you're like keili, well, that's for the functional element. Omnom. However, these hislapshus that the oil is mislabish in the keili is bibchin as his galus, is in a revealed manner. What does that mean? Bibchin as his galus, in the manner of his galus, sheho oires misgalim ba'keili, that the oires have the ability, are given the permission and the ability to express themselves in the kelim. It's not that the kelim contain the oires, and all you have is the kelim, or that which the kelim can benefit from the oires, but the oires are misgalim ba'keili. This is back to the concept of the AyinBase of the Oba or Aleph Kometz Aleph. When it comes into the keili, if it were merely the limit of its functional element, it would be just Oba Oba. So then the essence of it is not misgalus. It's not presented. Says no. The oiros are misgalim behakelim. The essence of the oiros is misgalim, but in a manner that the keili is able to relate to it. The high so here is misgalim b'keili. Okay. The high and that is why. How can the oiros be misgalim in kelim? Oiros are infinitely greater than the kelim. Oiros represent the atzmus. Kelim represent hagbola. But the reason that the oiros are behizkas and hakelim, lefi shehakelim betelim el ha'oiros, because that the kelim are bottled to the oiros, which means the kelim do not represent themselves at all. They represent the oil that they contain. There's an interesting halacha, really a phenomenal halacha. Shabbos, you're not allowed to carry in the Shuzah, you all know that. And everything in Shabbos, everything in the Torah has its shear. If you carry a certain amount of food on Shabbos from the Shuzah Yochel, you're over on Hitzah. If it's less than that amount, you're not over. Less than the Kibela and less than the shear of Achila, you're not over. Somebody has a plate that's worth $100, and on that plate he has a morsel of food that is less than the shear of Hitzah, and he carries the plate with the food out of the Shuzah Yochel in the Shuzah Rabbi. What is the thing? He's not over. How is it not over? He carried the plate. He didn't carry it. The plate is bottled to the food. That's what a plate is. Like we said, a cup is bottled to the water in it. That's what a cup is about. Even though he brings out, it has such a phenomenal effect and function of bringing out in the water that element of drinking water rather than flowing water. And yet the cup is bottled. It's bottled to it has that effect, and it's bottled to the oil. This is why it's at omnom. Like even though this slapshus is the oil is slabish in the keili, and it looks like the keili becomes the primary presence, but the ultimate situation is that his slapshus is mepchinis his galus. The oil is telling the keili what it is about. Shehoyres misgalim by keili. V'hainu, and that is lefi shehakelim betelim el ha'oires, because the kelim are bottled to the oires. They have a state of total self-nullification, and they are pointing exclusively what the oires are. V'hem re'uyim lekabel es ha'oires, to the extent that they are bottled, is that they are fit to accept the oilers. How they fit to accept the oilers? The oilers are infinitely superior to the kelim, The answer is because the keili is bottled to the oil, and therefore it is able to accept whatever the oil is. And this Inyan.
It's interesting that on one hand we say that the keili is spoiled on the oil, and then we're saying that the keili is bottled to the oil.
That's right. Okay, that's. Even though the keili is poured on the oil, so that the oil will be clear for the keili, and then once the keili reveals in the oil that function, then the keili steps aside and says, "Well, the main thing over here is the water that you're drinking, not the means by which you're drinking it." Time is up, right?
7:03.
7:03. The reason that the kelim are really bottled to the oil, despite the fact that the oil needs the keili, so to speak, to accomplish its function, is again coming back to our muscle from the AyinBase. O, bo, vo, go has no significance if there is no AyinBase behind it. There's no reality to it. This is what's called conventional language. Conventional language is not a real language. Lashon HaKodesh is a real language that relates to the reality of what it talks about. The way you spell a word and the word that applies to an object, that is the highest of the object. So the kelim are bottled to the oil because where is the real atzmus? Where is the power to creation come from? Where is contained the power of the creation? In the oil, not in the keili. The keili focuses the oil to a specific aim, and that's where the yesh comes out. But the power of the creation is in the oil. That's where the keili is totally bottled to the oil.
You're saying the sound of the letter is the functional expression of that light. We need the name, we need the letter itself. They're providing more than just the functional sound.
The kelim?
Yeah, the letters.
No, they provide the functional sound, but they reveal the reality of the oil.
They're revealing more than just the sound.
More than just themselves, right?
And more than just the sound.
Yeah, more than just the sound. They revealed, as I said, you see not because you see, but because it's being shown to you. That's real effect of sight. This is why it is so real to you. This is what the world has become blind to. All right, gentlemen, this is it for this morning. Have a great day.
Yeah.